Welcome to the Inside Out Shift, a podcast for women rewriting success on their own terms after leaving corporate or traditional careers. I'm Evgenia Baikova, business mindset strategist and Clifton Strengths expert and founder of Fulfillment Coaching and Consulting. And I work with women who left the chutes behind corporate jobs, burnout cycles, and traditional expectations to build service based businesses that actually feel good and make money. And this podcast is where we talk about what it really takes to build a business from the inside out, one that reflects who you are, how you led, and the life you truly want. And today's guests bring all that to the life in the most powerful way. Alex is an infusion of energy, clarity, and hope into any space she walks into. And she's a certified Clifton Strengths Coach, a former higher ed leader and startup founder, a mom, and a deeply grounded presence for the teams and leaders she works with. She brings sharp insight, fierce compassion, and a commitment to helping people see the truth about who they are and break free from the narrative that hold them back. Whether she is navigating complicated relational dynamics or helping teams unlock new levels of trust and collaboration, Alex shows up with heart, humor, and contagious sense of possibility. And today we're talking about navigating pivots in life and businesses, rebuilding after setbacks, creating freedom as a value, not just a goal. So let's dive in. Alex, welcome.
Thank you so much. It's so great to connect with you.
Thank you, thank you. And take us back to the beginning. What do you do and what inspired you to begin this work?
Yes, well, I am a coach of teams. So I primarily work one on one with a manager, supervisor, director, and we increase engagement on teams. So that's like the data word. But what I get really excited about and the language that really gets me excited is just people being more free to be their true selves. Um, So on a team, I love seeing people shift into the roles, into the relationships where they're being fully themselves. And I think Clifton Strengths is an incredible framework. I love it. I love it. I could talk about it all day. Um, but I don't think it's the only framework out there. And I don't think it's like necessary, but I think it's a really powerful tool to get people talking about who they are and how that aligns with their positions and their relationships.
Yeah, that's so true. And I love Clifton Strengths as well. And I can talk about that for hours. So, Alex, you've worked in high ed and you launched startup with your husband, and now you are running your own coaching practice. So, what was the turning point that you decided, okay, this is the path I'm called to take?
It's a good question. And I think that a lot of people would probably connect with this, but my life has been a series of major pivots since COVID in 2020. I had my first daughter in May of 2020 and also lost a business with my husband that year. So we had a long season of just honestly kind of scrambling, trying to find our bearings. We had always planned that I would mostly stay home, but still be helping build with my husband. And we honestly just had to scrap it all. I mean, the business we were building was marketed toward an audience that was no longer relevant because of COVID. So we were hit really hard. Um, but in that whole journey and in having my kids, I've come to realize that it's actually possible for me to kind of live out multiple values at the same time. It's taken a little time to get there, but I have this huge value for being really present with my kids. I want to have the most influence in their lives. So I spend most of my time as a mom and running a house. And I've slowly kind of stepped back into doing some coaching, and I've found that it actually gives me a ton more energy. It's a place where I get to shine and help people in a very different way than being a mom. So it's very fulfilling. And then I can come home and give even more to my kids. but it took a lot. It took several meltdowns of like, I don't know if I can really do this, and just it's been a very vulnerable journey.
Hmm.
But I'm at a place where I have found this incredible balance, and there's times that I'm like, I can't believe I get to do
Hmm.
both of these things.
Yeah, it sounds like you found your own. I don't know how to explain that, but like a comfort being in discomfort, right? Something like that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. I think it's definitely been a season of reframing, right? Like
Hmm.
we love comfort, especially in America. It's worldwide, but and it's almost like we think that if something is uncomfortable or painful, it's bad, it's wrong,
Hmm.
we have to change it.
Hmm.
And so I think I've really felt called into this different perspective where actually a lot of these challenges and hardships are what are going to prepare me to be the leader that I want to be and to provide help to the people that I want to be able to help.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And also, I remember you mentioned that faith plays a big role in your journey. So, what role has it played in navigating uncertainty and rebuilding after your software launch didn't go as planned?
Yeah, great question. As I think about what has my faith looked like in that journey, honestly, my life has kind of been characterized by some miraculous financial provision. So for me, I didn't freak out when we lost all of our businesses and money because I had this bank
Hmm.
of um, memories to kind of stand on. So, however, my husband was not in exactly the same boat, and we had just had our first baby, didn't make a single dollar off of
Hmm.
anything that we had spent about a year building and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was really hard for him. And so, actually, where I had to have the most faith was in trusting God for him to arrive at a place of like peace. And it was not the journey we would have chosen. He's an entrepreneur too, and he loved working for himself and ended up deciding to get a job for a few years because that just made the most sense for our family.
Hmm.
So it was definitely a moment of we felt like we were going backwards. But now that I can look back, I can see that was the best way forward for us. But in when you're in the thick of it,
Hmm.
it's all you see is this one narrative like we're not going the direction we want. So it just even the gap of like, I don't understand how this is
Hmm.
getting us to where we want to go, and the faith to continue to dream about those things and not totally let go. Because that was probably the temptation, was to say, well, okay, we'll just work the corporate life, or I'll only stay home with my kids and not. I mean, I certainly had days where I was like, yeah, I'll never be able to figure this out, and this is pointless. So just the continuing to believe this is going to be possible.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's interesting and wonderful at the same time. It seems like, when one door is closed, others are opening up, right? So that you see some new perspective, you see some new opportunities, even if they're not that close yet.
Yes, yes, it's very true. And even if, yeah, I think that's a lot of what I've had to come to terms with, is that there are things I'm really excited about and even
Hmm.
feel called to, but I won't always get to choose the path or how it feels to get
Yeah.
there. So
Hmm.
embracing the journey, embracing, just a lot of growth internally too during that time, just
Yeah.
like facing facing the demons of my soul.
And now I can hear your kids somewhere
Can you?
behind you. Yes. And well, this is actually in my next question will be about this. As mom and entrepreneur, how do you navigate the tension between structure and freedom and self accountability and all other things?
Yeah, and I love that question. I love talking about it. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if you could hear them. That's why I wear headphones, but
Uh-huh.
I've ultimately kind of embraced like this is my life and this is what it looks like. So
Mhm.
there is definitely tension. And again, there's moments where I'm like, how am I going to do this? But I have really leaned on my ideation a lot for that. So my ideation strength, and my husband has it too. So we do a lot of out of the box thinking. So for us currently, we have a live-in household assistant, and that's an idea that we kind of was sparked with someone else, and then we shaped it and made it our own. But that's been really wonderful for us in like having just the right amount of childcare and a little bit of help with our
Mhm.
home. Um, and you know, we're kind of just willing to do things that maybe feel risky to
Mhm.
some people. Like we love having someone live with us, but that's also a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, and it's different relational dynamics to navigate. And I'm enrolled in a community of like-minded entrepreneurs, and that has been huge just in that accountability piece, right?
Mhm.
Because when you're an entrepreneur, it's so easy to feel like you're just drowning out there by
Yeah.
yourself. So to
Mhm.
come
Mhm. Mhm.
together with people, um, it just, to me, it makes the world of difference, especially being somebody that's more extroverted. But I
Mhm.
find that that doesn't really make the biggest difference. Like even my friends or husband who's really introverted still needs some of that kind of support.
Yeah.
And then I use basically a time block schedule.
Mhm.
So I have dedicated times that I don't care who's like my phone's in the other room. I'm just reading to my kids, and I treat that the way I would treat a
Mhm.
Zoom call with
Mhm.
someone. And like I am in, and so it definitely, there's times when those things have to bleed into each other and it's not perfect, and you know, I'm on like iteration 5
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
But I'm learning, and I'm finally feeling some momentum, like this is working.
Yes. And I like how you using that intentionally and how you are practicing the presence, and that you are not just present with your business, you're present with your kids, and that moments actually they're making the difference, right? Because when you try to do everything simultaneously, you are nowhere.
Yeah.
Like you are not with your kids, you're not with your business, you are somewhere in between,
Yes.
right? But when you are blocking the time and you're cautious about that, that's the powerful thing. It sounds so simple, but well, sometimes it's not.
No, I agree with you so much. And I mean, it's 2025. We have
Mhm.
access to any
Oh yeah.
information we want, any person we want at
Hmm.
like this. So
Hmm.
I do feel like there is this need for an incredible intentionality, boundaries that our
Hmm.
grandparents never would have dreamed of, right? To
Hmm.
say
Hmm.
like I have this little computer that follows me around. And so, you know, yeah, in our family we're very strict with some of those boundaries, and we still find those things creeping in, you know, like pulling us back, but we're
Of course.
constantly kind of
Hmm. Hmm.
rechecking
Hmm.
in. Like, I mean, my husband and I turn our phone off for a whole day, 24
Hmm.
hours
Hmm.
of a week, and it's incredible. It's so refreshing, but I would say it takes some amount of faith to do that, you know,
Hmm.
because you're kind of saying like, I'm going to be okay even if I don't respond to this person immediately, or if something happens in the world and I
Hmm.
don't find out immediately.
This is so true. It seems like, you're talking about the new skill emerging. Yeah, being intentional. And yeah, this is not the easiest one. But also, last time when we had a conversation, you said something beautiful. I want to see people fall in love with who they are. So, what does that look like in the team and leaders you support?
Mm, yes, I so mean that. Um, you know, there's people on a various spectrum that I work with, from like, man, I love these things about myself and I'm so confident, to like, these are only bad, right? A lot of the
Hmm.
people, and I'm sure you can relate to this, a lot of the clients I've worked with, they look at their strengths report and they're like, nobody's ever said this is good before. These have all been things that
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't like about myself. So I spend a lot of times doing things that feel vulnerable, and honestly, they feel so simple, but they're hard. They're simple, but they're not easy, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. So a
Hmm.
lot of
Hmm.
like, hey, let's actually look at your report, and can you own some of that? And we talk about the vulnerability that it takes to actually own the truth about yourself, right? So a lot of us actually are more comfortable owning the bad things about us and identifying with those things. but to own the really beautiful parts of who you are, it takes vulnerability because you're opening yourself up to rejection, or somebody else might not see that about you. So then, I do some amount of work translating that into maybe some more corporate language that might be a little bit more comfortable, right? If I'm being honest, that is just helpful for some people. And my favorite thing that I do on a team is toward the end of a time that I work with a team, we actually spend a lot of time opening up the floor for each specific person and like pointing out how team members see that person operating in their strengths and what they really see in them. And we come up with like some kind of physical object or picture that they can take home from that as kind of a memory of this is who I am. And I find that the more somebody can kind of believe that that's who they are, they're going to show up as that. And you're going to have way better interactions with them.
Yeah.
They're going to enjoy what they're doing. They're going to feel purpose in what they're doing.
And that's impressive, and I can only echo the thing that you just mentioned, that people, they have a tendency to accept their weaknesses and even believe in them, but they're not accepting their greatness, and they are not seeing even, the signs of that. And I'm so glad that you are helping them to see those talents and greatness, and you teach them how to intentionally use them. Well, yeah, and again, we can talk about that for, I don't know, many, many hours, because
I'm
we are
sure.
experts in that. Yeah. You've said that freedom is one of your biggest values. And from how you design your business to how you show up as mom and coach, what does freedom look like in your work today? And how do you help your clients create more of it for themselves?
Yeah. So when I talk about freedom, what that mostly means for me is that permission and ability to be fully who you are, not to be the best at everything. There's actually an embracing of limitations, I believe, to true freedom, right? So like for me as a woo, number one, that's I love winning people over. Um, there's a bit of a limitation that actually puts on some of my close relationships, and there's I have to navigate like different dynamics because of this superpower. So for me, that freedom looks like the ability to pull that strength out at the right time when it's going to really serve someone, and also the ability to hold it back if it's not going to be of true service for someone, and getting the choice to do that. So not being stuck based on, well, what is this person going to think about me, or what is my past experience telling me about this situation that's going to change how I act, but actually getting to see clearly, this is the situation, and what is this situation calling for that I can bring and offer.
Yeah.
So yeah, when I'm working with teams, there's just layers to some of this stuff. And so we spend a lot of time really customizing, like, what does this individual need? We're going to go on these deep dives. We'll come up for air and have fun, because that's important. Um, but yeah, just kind of having to go through the process of figuring out what are the areas where we're stuck. Can we pinpoint and actually get to the root? When we can pull up, I'm a gardener, so I use all kinds of gardening metaphors. But when we can actually pull things up by the roots, there's space. We're creating
Yeah.
space for the
Space.
right things to grow.
Yeah, and I believe that Clifton Strengths is the best tool to help teams and individuals to do so.
Hmm.
And we're also talking about AI, and you've started exploring AI. So, how has it helped your work?
Yeah, so my husband is a software engineer, and he's the one that was like, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing this. So right now, a lot of what I'm using with AI is when I'm in ideating mode, and I'm just like, oh, an idea is coming, I need to just get it out. Um, and I'm also high communication, so that means I'm not really an internal processor. So I am a big journaler. I have to write things out. If I'm going to write a post, I'll probably write it this long and edit it to here. So it's been helpful to use AI to just say, okay, here's a bunch of ideas. Why would this not work? What would get in my way? Almost like a troubleshooting.
Mhm.
Or if I have a bare bones idea that I love, but I'm having trouble fleshing it out, um, I'll get some help with that in execution. So sometimes I lean on it to say, okay, this is the idea I'm going to flesh
Mhm.
out. What are the steps? Just because also I'm an activator and it's easy for me to miss things
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's just
Like
get
a jumping,
started.
yes.
Yes, I jump in and then I look back and I say, oh, if I
Uh-huh.
had done this and this would have been a little easier.
Mhm, mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate it as a tool. I definitely have a huge value for authenticity. So it's AI is making things a little bit weird, like getting back on LinkedIn and stuff. It's like, what is happening?
Mhm.
Um, so I definitely like to take things and
Yeah.
get them away from AI and say, okay,
Mhm.
how do I make this really resonate with me and with my
Mhm,
audience?
mhm. Yeah, it's like having a team, right? And
Yeah.
very diverse one. So it's not just like your personal assistant or I don't know, a partner. It's
Yes.
your marketer. It's your challenging partner. It's your sounding board, right? Yeah, I like that. And I also experiment with AI a lot, and I like how it is evolving. But also, we need to be careful with using. But I think that you do that working with people, right? And I
Yes.
also I have some like kind of a my internal processes how to use that. And finally, what's one piece of encouragement you would like to offer someone rebuilding their confidence, and
Hmm.
how can people find and connect with you?
Yeah, love it. I'm all about rebuilding confidence. I would definitely say be radically, radically honest about the negative and the positive. When you're in a rebuilding phase, for me, my default is go all negative. Like everything is
Mm.
horrible. I'm
Mhm.
hopeless. And then in that place, that's not actually honest.
Mhm.
There's lies tangled up in that because the truth is things are hard. And also look at what I have to be thankful for and look how far I've made it. So I think my radical commitment to truth, tell the truth and be honest with yourself, is what will ultimately pull you out of the pits of
Mhm.
insecurity or being broken down. And then also just having someone to walk you through that process. For some people, they need a counselor. For some people, they need a strengths coach. There's all kinds of communities
Mhm.
out there, and pay for it. Pay for it because, and I have a soapbox like when you pay for something, you're invested and it
Mhm.
focuses you.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
a lot of times the free version of things, you're getting what you paid for.
Yeah. Or that you sometimes, even if you are seeing something and you're buying something cheap, you will never do that, right? Like, well,
Yes.
I have it, I probably will do that next time, but that next time is never like coming.
No.
Mm-mm.
No, and I mean, I think the more I've invested some like gut-wrenching dollar amounts into
Mhm.
personal development,
Mhm.
coaching and stuff, and it's like, I mean, in the beginning, I'm like almost sick to my stomach, but I'm like, this forces me, like I have to follow through. I
Mhm.
have to
Mhm.
commit with this. So now, yeah, I mean, it's a weird thing to recommend as a coach, but I'm like, I don't care if you hire me. You don't have to pay me, but pay somebody
Mhm.
because it's
Mhm.
going to get you um hardcore focused.
Yeah, oh yes. Oh yeah, this is
Mhm.
so true. Well, Alex, thank you so much for being
Yes.
here with us today. Your story, your honesty, and the way you lead with clarity and heart, it's truly inspiring. And you've given us a powerful example of what it looks like to create freedom and impact on your own terms. And well, if this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend, follow the show, and leave a quick review. It helps more women find these real conversations. And if you are in your own season of change, check the show notes to connect with Alex or with me. And we've got tools and coaching to support you as you build a business and life that actually feels good. Thanks again for listening, and I will see you next time on the Inside Out Shift. Thanks for being here. Bye bye.